Hi everyone, welcome to another Perkuto webinar where we share marketing tips from Marketo users. My name is Jordan, I'm the Marketing Operations Manager here at Perkuto, and I'll be your moderator for today as we discuss creating unique customer experiences. Before we jump into the topic though, just wanted to go over a few things with you. We will be taking questions at the end of the presentation, so if you have any questions at all, please use the chat box to submit them. Also, we'll be recording today's presentation as well as giving you access to the slide deck that you'll see in front of you on your screen. So again, if you have any questions as the speakers are talking, please just hit the chat button and we'll take them at the end. For those of you not familiar with who we are, Perkuto helps leading brands orchestrate memorable customer experiences through flawless marketing operations. We've got nearly 50 employees now present throughout the world, based in North America, headquartered in Montreal, Canada. We are partners with Marketo, Adobe, Visible, and Microsoft. As for our speakers, today we've got two Jasons with us. First of all, we have Jason Yarborough, better known as Yarby. He is the Director of Strategic Alliances at PFL.com. He has a fervent love of coffee, dogs, his wife Samantha, and their son Jack. He's got a serious weakness for new experiences, travel, marketing, and people, so he's right at home as a MarTech evangelist. You can find him online at Yarby. The other Jason we have with us today is Raisleger. He's an associate consultant here at Marketo, been using Marketo since 2016. He's a Marketo certified expert. He lives with his wife Laura and 3 kids, and guess what? Like the other Jason, also has a son named Jack, born November this year. So Jason and Jason, glad to have you with us. I'll turn over the presentation now to you, Yarby.
Thanks, Jordan. Excited to be here for the Jason and Jason show. I learned a new fact about the other Jason, that he also has a son named Jack. I did not know that. That is
now you know.
random and funny. I was kind of hoping to hear some jokes from the other Jason, but maybe at the end I'll have some questions about that. So anyway, my name is Jason, also known as Yarby. My goal here with you guys today is to really just to encourage and help you to create experiences that make your brand more memorable, right? So resulting in high customer retention rates, more closed deals, better brand champions, and more recognition to you, the marketer. But first, I think we might need to shift some perspective that may require you to be a bit more open-minded about our current state and where we are. But first, let me talk to you about who PFL is. If you want to hit that next slide, Jordan. We're a marketing technology company, right? We're an automated direct mail solution that integrates directly into your maps, your marketing automation platforms, and your CRMs, and really helping you cut through all the digital clutter, right, by helping you deliver those impactful and meaningful messages through what we call tactile marketing automation. It's a category we stood up. We like to shorten it down to TMA. So if you hear me reference TMA, that's tactile marketing automation. And really is to help you send a postcard or a multi-piece dimensional mailer as easy as you would an email, right? We are based in Montana, and all of your campaigns, product, and everything is managed in Montana, which is, I think, an important piece for PFL, because everything is taken care of right in-house in Livingston, Montana. If you ever come out there, you'll see that we sit right at the foothills of the mountains, beautiful space. You come through, we'll give you a tour of the warehouse where everything sits. We have over 20 years of fulfillment history, and our in-house facility is really, like I said, a one-stop shop, from your project managers to your CSMs, to your sales teams, to the team that's kitting, fulfilling, and shipping your packages out. Let's hit that next, Jordan, and we'll get right into it. So the shift that I talked about and being a bit open-minded is taking less of our focus away from the ROI. I get into a lot of sales calls, and immediately I get asked the question, how much is it? What's the ROI going to be? What can we expect? But this is something I'm big on right now. And before I can even get into that ROI talk, I take a step back and ask, let's stop focusing so much on the ROI right now. Let's focus on how memorable we can be, right? So with consumer expectations rising, they're expecting a positive, personalized experience, and that expectation is rising more and more every year. They're expecting more out of the companies that they're giving their business to. And honestly, right now, we all know Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu. We live in a subscription economy. You know, that's right. That's where we have to win or re-win the loyalty of each customer with each interaction. Where we risk that customer's subscription. They're subscribed, right? And the options are limitless these days. All right, I'm a big Netflix, Amazon, Hulu guy. And they're all trying to hit me with the best shows, trying to get me to spend more of my time in one of those three. And honestly, the best experience always wins. The most memorable wins. So what is the current state of customer experiences? Really, we can't have a webinar without a few stats. So let's take a look at a few of those. The first side here, if you take a look, is kind of identifying what customers are expecting, right? And the second side is what the value of actually being memorable is, and what the experiences can churn for you, the brand, the business, and marketer, right? I think some of these stats about the customer are staggering. So 86% of buyers will pay more for a better customer experience, but only 1% of customers feel that vendors consistently meet those expectations. That's wild. So by 2020, customer experience will overtake price and product as a key brand differentiator. Customers are looking for experiences over what they'll pay for something. They want to work with someone that's memorable, that they have a good experience with, that provides them with something beyond just a product. Or if we bounce over, we're looking at some of these others. 44% of consumers will be willing to pay a premium price of 5% or more for a superior customer experience. And that last one, 73% of consumers said they would expand their purchase with the vendor by 10% or more if the customer experience was superior. So that's where we're at now. Customers are expecting a great experience. Customers are expecting you, the brand, to be memorable. Think about all the things you're shopping for right now as you're going through Instagram, Pinterest, Google, whatever it might be. Amazon sent me a catalog the other day. So the things that I remember are the things that I'm going to shop for, right? So right now we have to wow them, right? To keep their dollars in our house, we have to wow them. We have to focus on being more memorable. All right, go ahead, Jordan. So the point I want to make here is to become more focused on being memorable, right? Stop, take that focus away from what the ROI is for the meanwhile, right? Because if we focus on being memorable, if we focus on creating that customer experience, the ROI will come. So what exactly is a customer experience? Good question. I asked the World Wide Web and I found a few answers and put a few of my own in there. So the impression you leave with your customer, resulting in how they think of your brand across every stage of the customer journey, right? And multiple touch points factor into that customer experience and how these touch points occur on a cross-functional basis, right? It's a whole journey. So, but why? Why is this so important, right? For me, it constitutes in creating sticky customers. As I said earlier, this is a subscription-based economy. There's going to come a time for them to renew, resubscribe, purchase a new product, something that you've got to pitch them on again, so that the stickier we can make them, the better chance we have of keeping them in our house. Give them a great experience and they won't leave. So what constitutes as an experience? And really for me, it's the fundamentals of storytelling within your marketing. I get asked a lot of times how to tell better stories as a business. My previous customers with a content agency were large tech companies, and they asked how to tell better stories that result in wins. So there's 5 principles that I'll go through really quick here, and the first is personalization, just to personalize it. These are real products that we've sent out, right? And keep in mind that we're able to personalize based off all the data we have access to, right? We're sending products to Valerie because Valerie may live on the coast and Jesse may live in the mountains, and we're keeping all these products and materials that we're putting out personalized. I like Brian Solis's definition of B2B marketing, B2C marketing, and personalization these days. He says business buyers don't go to work and forget what they do as humans. Right, there's a new normal that blurs the line between B2B and B2C. They just want things personalized. And really, this is the tailoring of your marketing efforts to fit the needs of your customer. It might require a bit more work, such as some smarter targeting and really knowing the data and a better understanding to deliver faster, more relevant and expected experiences to those customers. So why is personalization necessary, right? Just because businesses are selling a B2B product or service to a company, there's still a real person on the other end, right? So I like to put it this way. It's just as in the alphabet and in B2B and B2C, there's a C behind every B. there's a customer buying on behalf of that business. And the more personalized and more of an experience and journey you can make it, the better it plays out for them. The second one is value. It adds value. So what problems are you helping your customers solve? What are your customers' problems? Have you identified those yet? Do you know those? You know, good customer experiences solve your customers' problems and answer their questions. But what does that really mean in B2B marketing? Again, it goes back to really offering something beyond just the product, just the professional, social, and emotional benefits you experience in addition to the actual product. The third is tells a story. Storytelling is kind of all the rage in marketing these days. How do we tell better stories? How do we tell the story? And as we see, storytelling taps different sections of the brain to implant thoughts and feelings about concepts, making them more apparent and memorable. Brands can take advantage of this by transforming their sales process into nice visual experiences. And what we're getting at here is genuine emotions and behavioral responses are all the result of good storytelling, right? Think about it, all the good stories you've heard recently, right? So instead of being a spectator or a consumer of something, they're actually involved in the narrative that gives them a chance to become a participant in your brand. I like to put it, if you're thinking about how to tell good stories, I always put it this way. Good storytelling follows a structure. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Think about Jack and Jill. We all know that little rhyme, went up a hill, fetch a pail of water. There's a beginning, middle, and end of that story. These stories, they make the audience think in a very specific pattern, which in turn makes the story easier to consume, right? And as brands, you can formulate the story's beginning, middle, and end by understanding your customer based on the customer journey that you've created and the work that you put in to understand your customer. The fourth is creates a journey. People don't experience your brand through a single channel. It's the overall experience, right? It's all about coordinating the interactions across the organization and integrating sales as part of that customer journey. I think we all understand journey. I'll save the time to go on to the next one with education. So the education really speaks to the value of a product or a service, right? Our marketing must be based on fulfilling our customers' needs and interests so that they come to build a trusted and emotional connection with our brands. Education or educating is the quickest way to do so, and educating is all about creating that trust and that emotional bond, right? When we speak to the value of a product or service, we explain how our offerings work, right, with our current and ever-changing technology options. We have to stay mindful that sometimes customers don't really truly understand where things are moving and going, and we do. We take the time to educate them and provide that value once again to them. They have a different bond and different connection to the brand, right? Our customers don't care as much about their products or services as much as they care about themselves and their success, right? And educating customers is the surest way to strengthen their trust in our organizations, and it's many times the key differentiator for many brands. I apologize if I'm speaking super fast. I'm trying to fly through this so that our other Jason has ample time to go through his side as well. So how do we do all this? Great question. There's a few things that we really want to really harness the power of, right? That's our data. So harnessing the power of our data to know our customers. We need the right tools, the right tech, the right resources, and they're all available to us. They're all out there. Everyone's, got something to identify some segment, some sector of data, right? But without those, you'll never meet the right person. Right? It's like setting up a dating profile and not really setting it up correctly to meet the right person. We have to align our data with our customers and align our customers with our messaging and keep everything succinct through the data that we have access to, right? The other one is alignment, cross-department alignment. This is a big one, especially in the ABM space that we're all playing in these days, the marketing space, sales. If we're talking stories, sales has the stories from what our customers are looking for, what their expectations are, the questions they're asking. Marketing has the ability to tell those stories and to work those angles, right? So if without really harnessing these two things, right, we really can't provide for the customer what the customer wants. And that final one is keeping the customer first, that customer centric, right? So we have to have that customer mindset first to really truly be able to create an experience that matters to them. So we harness the power of our data, we break out of our silos and work cross-departmentally, and we keep customer first. So here's where the fun gets in. So what is the ultimate personalized experience, right? I think this is something that we all know. We all have some sort of deep maybe profound love for. I have a profound love for this. My father was a mailman for 35 years, which it's funny to me that I now work in the direct mail space. So maybe that makes me the direct mailman. I don't know. I'm assuming you guys are all laughing right now. So the mail moment is that ultimate personalized experience, right? It's that time in our day where we go check the mail, right? For me, my dog and I will go across the street, we'll go check the mail, get what's out of the box, check it. Maybe I've got a key to get something out of the parcel box, and Amazon has sent me something that I've ordered, or right now it's Christmas time, family's sending stuff. You know, it's 3 minutes of my day where I stop to check the mail, to see what's been sent to me, to see what packages or letters have my name on it, because that's the sweetest thing anyone could ever read or hear is your own name, right? So it's a very nostalgic moment in our day. It's a great opportunity for marketing as well, because we're stopping anytime that piece of mail, that box, or whatever it is, arrives on our desk or in our mailbox. Let's go on to the next one, Jordan. So what are some of the results of these personalized experiences? And, you know, I talk about mail because it is a very personal experience. It is something that we stop to. We say around PFL that, you know, a FedEx box has a 100% open rate, right? When was the last time an email campaign or, you know, some other campaign had a 100% open rate? You know, I used to work in that space. I could say never for myself, but you put a FedEx box on my desk, I will open that box 100% of the time. And here's a few of the results of what we've seen through sending those personalized experiences at PFL. Jellyvision, one of my favorite partners, one of my favorite customers and people, they wanted to target accounts that were swamped just during their busiest season. That was they decided to launch this campaign at a very busy season for their target accounts. And as we all know as marketers, marketing to prospects under that much stress is kind of a risky move. However, if you can manage to break through that stress and grab their attention, you might just find some good traction, right? Jen Clark, who was running this campaign for Jellyvision, her challenge was getting that attention and keeping it long enough to start a conversation, right? So if you're thinking about what makes it memorable, it's getting attention and keeping it long enough to start a conversation. So here's what they sent. They sent these survival kits out, and as a result, sending these situations out, they achieved 179% ROI on their campaign send. Right, they used tactile marketing, as I said, TMA from PFL to triple their campaign response rate and earn that mind-boggling 179% ROI. Right, they closed all their deals 10% faster, and they closed 24 deals out of that. The next one was fun for me. I'm a golfer, so I enjoy this campaign that Time Trade sent. They were looking at ABM campaigns that prospects can rave about. So the Time Trade marketing team, they had an ABM strategy that was currently in place to make sure that they were going after the right targets and contacts and accounts, and you know they were using relevant personal communications in their sales and marketing efforts, but still kind of struggling to engage the right target accounts. As I mentioned earlier, they sent out a bunch of emails, they went unopened, calls weren't returned, and as VP of marketing, one of my friends, Lauren Mead, said, she was puzzling over a solution. And then here comes a package landing on her desk, right? FedEx boxes, 100% open rate. She didn't throw it away, right? She didn't, you know, flag it to read for later or just put it in another folder. She opened it immediately, she said. And at that point, that was kind of her marketing epiphany, right? Excuse me. The initial results for her weren't exactly promising, but the packages that they were sent out at the time, they began doing direct mail, not through PFL, but they started doing it on their own. They weren't as polished or personalized as they wanted to be, and they were batch blasted, and they couldn't keep up with the demand, and it was hard for them to make timely follow-ups. So they teamed up with PFL to launch this multi-channel ABM program with a golf/team package. Right, so they sent different kits to the champions within their target prospects and the executives. So one person received a box of golf balls, and the other person received that putting green. And inside of there was a personalized note that says, "Hey, jump on a call with us to do a demo, and we'll send you the putter so that you guys can putt around the office." It was a relevant message for each persona and a note personalized by the sales rep. They were able to follow up in a timely manner thanks to the FedEx API that we back into, allowing you to know exactly when that package was delivered. And as a result, they hit 2.5x average sales price, 300 plus opportunities granted and 25% campaign conversion rate. All as a result, saved time, empowered their sales reps, and super happy prospects, which we'll talk about here in just a second. The next one, Paycor. Their problems, they're leading HR and payroll software solution provider. I mean, as far as storytelling goes, it's not a sexy industry to tell a story, but Paycor does a fantastic job here. As these guys, they were already committed to doing direct mail, much like Time Trade was, and they had some previous results, but had limited hours and fulfillment abilities. So they were faced with a challenge. How do we significantly decrease the cost and time spent managing the company's direct mail marketing program while increasing the sales pipeline? So here's what they wanted to do. They wanted to get 15,000 prospects, personalized messaging, a customized postcard, and a branded gift as part of a target account program. For this campaign, they needed to update their list of something like 15,000 leads before launch. So we used our address validation service. So over 55,000 data points were updated. The 61% of their direct mail sends being at risk of being returned. Here's where you want to have all of your ducks in a row before you get into direct mail, right? So if those direct mail kits had been undeliverable, they would have paid $161,000 out of pocket for return shipping and restocking fees. Plus, they would have missed out on the opportunity to influence 9,150 contacts. So as a result of doing all that, they implemented tactile marketing automation, TMA. Paycor is able to combine their marketing automation platform with the direct mail system that allows for some really great reporting, analytics, and ROI. So in streamlining this process, they dramatically reduced the manual process of sending their direct mail for their in-house teams, which is a big win for most teams that we work with, saving them time and money. And furthermore, Paycor is able to achieve 209% of their sales opportunity generation goal. They exceeded their pipeline goals by 7x and improved deliverability by 95% by utilizing our PFL address validation service. And this last personalized experience, this is a fun one as well. These guys sent a drone out, again, with a call to action to jump on a demo to get the remote. But Cloudera's problem, they were doing a lot of digital marketing in the past, right? They were looking to make some noise and get noticed in a very crowded and competitive digital space. So they were combining outbound messaging, digital display advertising, account-based webinars, and trade shows, much like I'm assuming everyone here is doing as well. So they were looking to incorporate a direct mail effort, but they really weren't sure where to start. So again, PFL, drinking her own champagne, reached out using an orchestrated direct mail journey. A box landed on her desk requesting a meeting in exchange for a GoPro, and that caught their attention. So they knew they needed our solution to do a first run program, but they had one simple goal: generate pipeline. Set out to test our capabilities. So they use a direct mail piece with, this is great, I love this campaign. They use a direct mail piece that they use what's called thermochromic coding. That is a very technical print term. Will not be a quiz on that later. So the prospect needed to do this: place their finger on the paper to reveal an offer to book a meeting and get a drone. Now, if we're talking memorableness, if I may, and experiences, placing your finger on a sheet of paper to reveal an offer to book a meeting is pretty cool. So because the timing for their campaign was super critical, the Cloudera team worked with PFL to time the send of the warm-up email, the direct mail send, the follow-up from sales, a nurture stream, and retargeting ads throughout every step of the process. So here's what Cloudera learned from their run. It's like they completely nailed their goal. So they had 3 million in generated pipeline, an 8x ROI, 37x pipeline ROI, and 700,000 in closed deals. The first direct mail marketing campaign for Cloudera was a tremendous success. Right, they've to this day continuing to do direct more initiatives, more teams working with events to drive attendance, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of fun things you can do to make your brand memorable through that ultimate personalized experience of sending mail. And when you know that it's working, right? You get results. So my thing is intelligent journeys equal results. Multi-channel marketing buzzword there for you. I won't dive too deep into that, but what we're seeing is that when you orchestrate all your channels to directly affect what happens on the next, and incorporating direct mail into that, we're seeing a 20% response rate. A lot of times north of 20%, 40 to 60% response rates through these personalized direct mail experiences isn't that normal for us. So when you can extend how you interact with your customers across channels, taking them on a journey through direct mail, digital ads, your website, and even within your product, we see response rates skyrocket. And multi-channel marketing with orchestration is a force multiplier. And then the next one is you get response and praise in letters like this. This is from that time trade, the golf ball and putting green campaign. Tyler, loved your campaign. Keith has a golf ball, let's have the putting mat. We want the putter. In all actuality, I think you have an interesting product. I'm in London until the 21st, happy to chat the week of the 24th. So they got quick responses, great praise on the campaigns. We get letters and notes all the time from customers and through these campaigns that we're sending. The last one that I think we often tend to overlook as far as marketing goes is we get brand champions. Right, so too often we get obsessed with acquiring new customers and forget to take care of the existing ones. Right, and I said in the beginning, right, one of my goals is to help you, the marketer, get more recognition for your efforts. As PFL and you begin to win together, right, and you get brand champions as a result of your customers, you get people who are going to talk about you and help you expand into accounts, help you land new business as a result of them talking about you. And so really the technical piece of PFL, to me, I am, if you look at sales and marketing, it's kind of like arts and science. I would think of myself as the art guy here. And to me, if you look at Marketo and creating webhooks, it's as easy as this. But in actuality, Jordan tells me that it's not actually that easy. So he invited the other Jason to the call to talk to us about the resources, the tools, what's required to get these campaigns launched, and what sorts of campaigns you can actually build within Marketo, and how you do so utilizing Marketo and Perkuto services. So Jason, I'll let you take it from here.
All right, thank you, Yarby. And yeah, actually, it is very easy, which I'm going to cover here in just a minute. And I did want to say too that I know what you just talked about was creating, great experiences for your customers, but I think this is also for the marketer too. So any marketer that's ever had to do list exports and send to fulfillment houses, if you use something like PFL, you're going to be much happier, have a lot less stress, as it's going to take less effort from you, and you're going to have more insights into what's actually happening with that mail. So, all right, so I'm actually going to be talking more to the marketing ops people that might be participating on this webinar, because I'm going to actually show you how we set this up in Marketo, and then also how we're going to track it moving forward so that you can measure that ROI. I'm going to have it as part of an engagement program and also as a standalone program. So the first thing that we need to do is we're going to create the direct mail channel. So for this, for tracking purposes, this is something that we're going to want to set up. I'll show you how we can embed that into an engagement program in just a little bit. But when creating this program, you're just going to want to use that default program type and have the analytics behavior be normal. Because you can add the program cost. So when you send through PFL, they're going to give you an invoice. You can put that number in there, and that's going to help us measure that ROI. So the 4 statuses that we're going to want to track through Smart Campaigns is when a piece of direct mail is in production, once it's shipped, if it would be canceled or undeliverable. I know Yarby talked a little bit about their data validation. So if something would come back where it can't be delivered, we can actually get a status update on that. And then finally, when it's actually delivered. So the webhook is called through a triggered Smart Campaign. It has to be a triggered Smart Campaign. This isn't something you can batch. That's just how webhooks work. So you'll see in the following examples that how I have this set up. And then this custom object is created that you can see on the screen right now. And this is really where kind of the magic happens when it comes to working with the Smart Campaign. So you can see the arrow there on the status where it says shipped. That's actually going to get updated. So it's going to go through those previous statuses that I just showed, which is like in production, shipped, delivered, canceled, undeliverable. And then you can also see other things like the order number, the product ID. So in the examples I'm going to show, I'm going to use it as only one product really in this tactile marketing automation custom object. But if you have multiple things you're sending, you can actually put a constraint on there for the product ID, so you can get much more granular. And like I said, you can use some of these other delivered dates, ship dates, in case someone would have questions about a piece of mail that's being sent out. So in this scenario, what we're going to do is build an engagement program that's going to be a welcome program that's going to welcome people to the brand. And we want to send direct mail to people with the job titles, director level and above. And then once that mail is delivered, we want the BDR to follow up with the lead, make sure they got their mail, and then open up that conversation, basically kind of what Yarby talked about a little bit earlier with like Jellyvision, some of those customers. And then finally, we're going to track these results through generating opportunities. So if you look at the right side of my screen, you can see how this is set up in the tree in Marketo. So I have those three embedded or nested emails, O1 top, O2 top, O3 top, and then I have the direct mail program in there, which is again using that channel that we just set up. So anyone who's worked in engagement programs, I'm sure is used to seeing these different streams. So you can see that when you have this nested program, you can actually add this as one of the casts. So if you're looking at the right side of the screen here, you'll see that that O1 email is going to send, the O2 email is going to send on Wednesday at 12:30. And then the third one is actually not going to be an email send, it's going to be this direct mail send, which is a pretty cool way to do that. So it's actually going to be one of the casts that goes out. So how this works is on that third cast, it's going to look for anyone that's a member of this, the kind of the container engagement program, that welcome engagement program, and that has the job titles of either CEO, VP, or director. And this is just one example, of course. And then really the flow step is just requesting the mail requested campaign. This is going to satisfy that requirement that it be a triggered campaign. Then calling the webhook, and this is a little bit about what Yarby talked about a little bit earlier, is for the smart list, we're just looking for that campaign is requested that was in the previous step. And then from here, we're just going to do the call the webhook. I know that PFL sets it up so that all of the information that needs to come through does, so they get the information for the name, mailing address, everything like that. So you just have to drag in the call the webhook and then make sure you pick the right webhook name in case you have multiple. From this step, we're also going to change it to the program status to in production. Then on tracking the send, so one thing to notice here is for custom objects, you can actually use the updated trigger, but we actually ran into this with a client where anyone that's on Orion should have that ability, but we actually, even though they were on Orion, we had to talk to Marketo support to get it turned on. So in case you have custom objects, you should be able to use the updated trigger, which is something that you'll see right here. And here we're looking for that status update of shipped, which was something I showed on one of the previous screens. And then when that happens, we're just going to change that program status. And here's another kind of benefit of doing something like this is after 10 days, we're going to send an alert to customer care team if someone is not part of the delivered smart campaign, which is going to come next. And the reason for this is after 10 days, we might want, depending on how many we're sending, that might be more feasible than not. But if after 10 days someone still hasn't been delivered that mail, we might want someone to look into what happened with that. So it's kind of another data checkpoint that you can make sure that you have the right information on file and again, providing a great customer experience. Then for the undeliverable, so let's say someone fills out a lead form, for some reason they put in the incorrect information, it would get failed to place the order, or it would come back as undeliverable after going out for delivery. That's something we can look at here too, through those statuses again. And then, so we're going to change that program status to canceled or undeliverable. And again, here is we're going to send an alert to our customer care team so that they can look into, does their address need to be updated? And again, I think this is providing a great customer experience because it's being proactive and not reactive, and having someone contact you to find out where something may be. So, and finally, we have the delivery and follow-up tests. So this is the good news. This is when the success happens. So we're looking for that status change of delivered. and then the flow step is changing it to delivered. We're going to create an interesting moment that they receive their welcome kit. And then finally, we're going to create a task for the lead owner that's just saying, you know, the first name, last name, ensure they receive their welcome kit because it's showing that they did, and then also start that conversation about how you may be able to help them. So it works pretty slick. And then for reporting and tracking, so there's going to be a few reports we're going to use. The first one is the program performance, which you can see below, and this is just built in a test environment, so there's no data in here. But when you put those period costs in, you can see under total cost, it's $5,000. That's going to break out by cost membership and cost per success. So it'll give you some good insights there. You can also have a report for leads by revenue stage. And then have the smart list to limit only the people that are in the direct mail program. So you can see what stages they're in versus people that might be in some of the other that weren't part of this program. And finally, we're going to have a smart list to track these, to track the opportunities of people that receive the direct mail. So you can see the logic there. It's people that either have an opportunity or has an opportunity that is closed won, and then that we're a member of this program and a member of the engagement program as well. So when we do this on the smart list, it's going to give us all the leads that meet that criteria, and we'll be able to use that to compare against, again, some of the other people to track how successful this is. So that's a really cool way to do it. Again, you can do this really in any engagement program to have these nested direct mail channels. So the second thing that I wanted to show you was a way that you may be able to use this to reactivate disengaged leads. So I know Yarby was talking to you about, you know, email open rates, and sometimes leads that you get go dormant. So how can you reactivate them? So what we're going to do is identify the leads in our database that haven't had any interaction activities in like the past year, and then send these people a postcard, which is a really affordable way to go, and to try to drive them back to a landing page so that you can try to reactivate them. And then we're going to track that conversion of reactivated leads. So what we're going to need here is just the landing page, the 4 smart campaigns, a form, and then the 2 reports. So first thing you need to do is identify your disengaged audience. One thing to note on here that the visited web page actually only has 90 days of activity that you can look for in a report. I still have the year on here, but at least the not open email and not clicked email in 1 year is still going to work for this. And whatever criteria you want to identify disengaged leads. So then these flow steps, and this is going to look really similar to what we had before. The only difference is on a postcard, you aren't going to have the tracking like you'd have with FedEx, but you can still get when something might be shipped or something like that. It's just not going to have the signature confirmation. So we're still going to request that mail campaign. Here we're still calling the webhook. Same as before. And here we can still see when the postcards are sent, which is important to be able to track their status, so we can see where everyone falls within these programs. And then again, the direct mail ship status change. And then the lead is reactivated. So there's actually a couple different ways that you could do this. It could be something as simple as just visits webpage, because that's really what we want them to do. We want them to activate with the brand again. Or we could have a form fill here if you want to have that as part of the criteria too. If it's an offer and you actually want them to fill out a form, you could add that as a trigger as well. And then just make sure that they're already a member of this program. And then finally, we're just going to change that status to delivered. So that was a couple of ways that people can use direct mail to engage and then also reactivate people that may have become disengaged over time.
Thanks, Jason. And thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Do have a few questions. And again, if anyone has any, as Jason and Jason are answering these that have come through, feel free to type them in and we will get to them. Hopefully, we've got a few minutes here. First question is for Jason R. Question is there a way that you can verify an address is correct before calling the webhook?
Yeah, so and I'm not sure if it'll necessarily be correct, but one of the things that I've done in the past is I'll actually create a segmentation that's looking to make sure that everyone has the criteria needed. So at least it's not going to, if someone only puts in a zip code with 4 numbers or something, it's not going to go through. So we did create a segment that would look to make sure that someone is mailable, and you can actually use that in the like the call webhook logic. So I put if in segmentation mailable, call webhook, if not, do nothing, and then you can also send an alert or something after that point. So yeah, that's probably the way that we'd go about it.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Question for Jason Y or Yarby. Besides the obvious, why does a FedEx box have 100% open rate but emails don't?
Good question. There was a commercial that aired during the Super Bowl that FedEx ran. Why FedEx runs commercials, I don't understand everybody's using them anyway. But the whole thing was, imagine the possibilities. It was following the journey of all these boxes getting delivered to all these different people, and as they opened these boxes, their faces just lit up with excitement. And the whole thing was, imagine the possibilities. If I was like, imagine what we could send. It's also a bit of that excitement, nostalgia of just trying to imagine what we've received, right? There's a lot of excitement in getting a package, and there's the whole old adage that hearing your name is the sweetest thing you could hear in your lifetime, the sound of your name, and also reading your name is one of the sweetest things you can consume as well. So there's just that excitement that comes along with receiving a gift. Right, so we're going to open that. If I sent you an envelope with your name printed on it, you're probably not going to open that. But if I sent you a box, you're very curious. You're going to want to open it, and therein lies the magic. It's the curiosity.
Yep. Thanks for that. Question for Jason R. It's a bit technical. Question is, can you include information from the custom object in an email to leads with things like tracking number, delivered date, and so on?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way you can do this is through velocity scripting, but this is actually something that we've done in the past. So one of the things that I've worked on projects in the past was, it actually wasn't a proactive SIM, but we were using PFL for order fulfillment of samples. And one of the things that we did was, when someone would order a sample, we'd send them a confirmation just saying we got it. And then when it was shipped, we'd actually send them an email with that tracking number in. And when it was delivered, we'd send another email that says, again, with a link to the tracking number and the delivery date, just so they could look out for it. But yeah, you can definitely do that through velocity scripting. You'll have access for that, access the fields of that custom object. So that's definitely possible.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, we are coming right up to Q2, so just want to thank everyone for joining us today. Of course, Jason and Jason, thank you for speaking. It was great to have you here. When you leave the presentation, we'll have a quick exit survey. It's really helpful if people could fill that out, so we know what you might want to hear about in the next webinar. So again, Jason, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And speak to you all again some other time. Yeah, no problem. Take care, everyone.